Hello and welcome to the Hipaa Shield demo. This is the landing page of the Hipaa Shield. This is where you will start when you first enter the software. The Hipaa privacy and Hipaa security modules are the two main modules, as these will address the main components of a robust Hipaa compliance program. But if this is your first time in the tool and you're new to Hipaa in general, the Getting Started section is a good place to start. The Getting Started section is an article that explains HIPAA at a very high level, what the regulation is trying to accomplish, the various steps that you need to take to make sure that your health plan is compliant with the regulations, and some information on how working through the process in this tool will help you fulfill those requirements. Once you're comfortable with the introductory information, you can get started on the actual project. It doesn't matter whether you start with HIPAA privacy or HIPAA security. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'll start with HIPAA privacy. So you can see when you enter the HIPAA privacy module that there's a series of step-by-step instructions that are going to dictate what you should do to bring your health plan in compliance with the HIPAA privacy regulations. And the first thing that you want to do is create your draft privacy manual. To do so, you'll click here. You'll be taken to a set of fillable forms where we're going to ask just some very basic high-level information. First, starting off with basic organization information, and then asking you to designate a privacy official. You can also designate other contacts within the organization to fulfill various HIPAA administrative functions. But in most cases, most plan sponsors get by with just designating the privacy official. Last, we'll ask you to list out the various health plans that you sponsor. Now, once you've input all of that information, you are ready to generate your draft privacy manual. It's important to understand that all of the deliverables from this tool are a series of Word and Excel documents that are downloaded and stored locally. This is to give you full access and control to all of your documentation, even if you no longer subscribe to the HIPAA Shield. This is the privacy manual that I've just downloaded. So once I've downloaded my privacy manual, then I initiate the review process. And the review is important for two reasons. First of all, it's important to understand the content of the policy manuals themselves so that you can effectively administer and implement those policies within your organization. And secondly, the review process is helpful in case you want to make any changes to the policies in order to make them more relevant to your actual operations. In order to help with the review process, we've created narrative articles. They're listed out here on the left-hand sidebar, and there's one article for every policy in your document. I will just take the business associate article, for example. Your Word document has a business associate policy. During the review process, you're going to want to review that policy for applicability to your organization. The business associate article is going to help you by providing some background information on the policy itself. What is it trying to accomplish and why is it included in the manual? We'll also list out some instructions specifically to that policy. For example, if we've included template language that may potentially need to be strengthened based off of the operations of your organization. We'll also list out workforce members that are addressed by this policy. This helps to determine who needs to be trained in your policies. We'll give you the specific HIPAA citations that are addressed by this policy. Most of the time you won't need that information unless you're actually audited. And we'll also give you any relevant sample contracts or sample documents that help with the administration of that policy. In the case of the business associate policy, it's important to have business associate agreements on hand with all third-party vendors that have access to your protected health information. In this case, we give you a sample business associate agreement, and again, it's downloaded as a Word document. So once you've created your HIPAA privacy manual and you reviewed and edited it to make it applicable to your organization, you're basically done with the HIPAA privacy section of the HIPAA Shield. Then you can jump into the HIPAA security. And here you can see the HIPAA security module. It looks very similar to the HIPAA privacy module. The only difference is that before you create your draft security manual, a HIPAA risk analysis is required under the HIPAA regulations. We've included a sample risk analysis here for you to use. The sample risk analysis downloads as a Word document, and it includes upwards of 30 separate risks that should be addressed when thinking about protecting health information stored on your electronic systems. A lot of times your IT will already be running this type of analysis, but they can use our sample risk analysis to supplement what they are already doing. Once you've completed the sample risk analysis, it's time to create your draft security manual. And this happens much the same way as the privacy manual. You're taken to a set of fillable forms, asked various questions about your operations, and the answers to those questions will be input into the draft manual. I won't go through this in its entirety because it's the same process that we saw on the privacy side. After you create your security manual, once again, review the security policies in that manual using the narrative articles on the left-hand sidebar for reference. So now you've created and reviewed your HIPAA privacy and HIPAA security manual. The last HIPAA requirement is that you train your relevant workforce. With the HIPAA Shield, we give you access to training resources, including a recorded HIPAA training, an editable template slide deck on general HIPAA privacy and security rules, and a set of slides that you can use to supplement any existing security training your IT may already be running. So now you've created your manuals, you've trained your workforce. The last two modules are the sample document library. The sample document library is where you can find the consolidated list of all of the sample documents and contracts that you can use to help administer your policies, including the business associate agreement, a sample HIPAA complaint form, a sample notice of privacy practices, and much more. And the last module is just a glossary of helpful terms.